I'm a Trekkie. I love the old Star
cool.
Trek, and I love the reboot. And I just think it's got everything because there's so many wonderful references to homages to great movies like The Wrath of Khan. There's triples in there. There's everything. So is that what you think this film brings? I mean, I think everyone's going to love this movie.
Well, I hope there's a balance in it
Yeah.
for people like yourself who are fans and love that kind of the minutia of the original series peppered in there. And I think there's enough in this film that is new and kind of inclusive enough to be accessible. And just because it is Star Trek and it is science fiction doesn't mean that the themes that are explored in it and the action, the peril isn't very. It's very of the now and very. These are people that, whether it takes place in the future or the past or the present, these are just timeless kind of issues that we're dealing with here.
And Spock really goes through some emotional stuff, right?
Yeah, his arc in this movie is unique, I would say, in terms of the history of the character, and it was great fun for me. He goes through a lot of emotional arcs and a lot of physical arcs. He really has to kick some ass to save the day, which for me was one of the coolest parts of it, to break out of the restrictions that tend to be associated with this character who's so still and quiet and internal, and really take that to a whole other level, for me was incredibly gratifying. Definitely the most challenging part of the filming process, but ultimately I think probably the most rewarding as well.
Yeah, no, you get to throw some heavy punches there.
I do.
Whoa, Spock gets angry.
Well, he gets angry because he's, in the first movie, he suffered some catastrophic loss in his life, both personally and with regard to his civilization. And I think the first movie in so many ways was about him grappling with his humanity, and this movie is in so many ways about him embracing it. And part of embracing his humanity is reacting to the kind of loss that he believes he suffered again.
I'm not giving anything away. There may or may not be a cameo from a former Star Trek member. But could you just talk a little bit about your relationship with Leonard Nimoy and how that's helped with Spock?
Yeah, I mean, I starting out in the first film, I was just grateful to have Leonard's support and blessing and involvement in the movie. What I couldn't have ever anticipated was how tremendously close we would become and how important he would be in my life. I really consider him an enormously important part of my life, and just seeing the life that he's lived and the way that he embraces his experience and fully embodies the idea of being a creative human being is enormously impressive. I have a lot of respect and love for him.
Just one quick question, just with Benedict. I mean, amazing villain. How was that to have the dynamic there?
He's a wonderful actor, clearly, and I think people who kind of recognize him from playing these very dignified, not nearly as aggressive characters will be kind of stunned and very pleased with what Benedict has done with his character. He's very Hannibal Lecter-ish in this, and I think his kind of cold scalpel-like clinical mayhem that he inflicts on this group and on Starfleet, compared to this kind of bullish, American cowboy that is Kirk, I think there's a fun dynamic there that I think people will hopefully be satisfied by. On a steel horse I ride.